Everybody, welcome. We're going to jump right in with Philogix PBR Painter Pro. This is a really cool add-on. I've got a whole playlist on this, and I'm going to show you ID maps, and we're going to isolate some different textures. And what you'll be able to do is you'll be able to come in and procedurally change these textures live, and they are all PBR. So they will be very powerful. They'll all have a lot of different parameters. You can mess around with the scale to get a lot of really cool high definition looks. So let's jump right in. And real quick, if you want to support the channel, yes, this does do that. So a quick little plug. You can go over here and pick this up with a single user license or a multi-seat license. This is Philogix PBR Painter Pro, and this is something I work with the creator on, doing tutorials, finding bugs, and overall just teaching the software. You've got a lot of really cool features in here. You can bake out all of the normals, IDs, AO, curvature, and so on. And we're going to jump right into the tutorial now and go pick that up and do some in-house Blender work with all that. Forget all that import, export stuff. You can do that after you've made your PBR textures, and then you'll save a ton of time. All right, so I got a new ring light. Kind of play around with this thing a little bit. You know, it looks pretty good. Well, y'all can see me just a little bit better. All right, so I'm going to drop in the famous Suzanne monkey head. Comes with the UV, very useful. I'm going to subsurf that. I'll give it 3 levels, and then I just want to go ahead and apply that and shade it smooth so we've got something to work with. Now I'm going to be getting straight to the point on this one, so if you're brand new to Philogix, go pick that up on the Blender Market. Yes, it does support the channel, and also you can support the channel with a subscribe and a like. That helps out as well. Now I'm just going to jump right over into Material Preview, and I'm going to pull up Philogix. Now, like I said, I'm not going to go over the basics. This is version 3.1.4, so go upgrade if you haven't. That way it all makes sense. We always click New Pix Shader. I can go ahead and grab the emission. I'm not going to maybe go over that in this one, but I always like to have it available. And I'll just click OK and come to baking. I'm going to go with something basic like 2048. Drop the quality down to, say, 2, just so this goes fast. I'll change it to GPU compute. And I do want to bake out the normals and apply a bevel of 0.1 just to kind of give the edges a nice smoothness to it. Now, this is going to be more intuitive with baking IDs. So I'm going to show you how to bake the IDs. Just click that, ambient occlusion, and curvature. And now for the ID map, we're actually going to click the little drop down here and go from vertex to mesh element ID. What is that going to do? Well, that is actually going to grab all the different elements inside of your mesh. Specifically with the Suzanne, it's going to grab these eyes, which are technically separate. So if you jump into face mode and click off and just like hit L over one of these, you'll see that you can individually select these. Now if you hold L over this, the main body of Suzanne, it's going to grab the entire mesh. And so those are mesh elements. So if you've got a whole bunch of those, this is going to automatically bake all of them for you in that way. And then, of course, the curvature, you can leave that the way it is unless you've got some preference. And once that's all set, I'm going to leave this on Material Preview so I get a live bake, and then we can look at all the different maps. I'm going to go ahead and bake this out. I'll pause the video and come right back. And I just had to unpause that for just a moment so you could see the IDs that it does bake out. It's really cool. It's automatic. It's a whole lot better than trying to assign vertex colors, which gets really tedious. All right, cool. So that is all baked out. Now we can collapse the baking and come down to the layer system, which Philogix PBR Painter Pro has a full layer system. Very cool. You go ahead and you've got 2 options. I'll go over some of the basics. You've got the smart materials, and then you've got custom layers. And just think of it as those 2 options, and each one tree branches out to a dozen, 2 dozen, 3 dozen options, even more, depending on what you select. So you get that same kind of Substance Painter vibe. So if you come over from Substance Painter, you'll get a lot of in-house Blender functionality that works like that. So I go ahead and add in a smart material. I'm going to double click it, call it base. Now I'm on layer by default, so I want to come over from the layer and go to base. This is going to allow me to select a base Smart material. Let's go with the coated metal. I'm going to change that to like this nice deep yellow. And you can play around with the metallic values, the roughness, and you've got a bump. So you've got some factors here to kind of mess around with, to kind of tweak that however you wish. Now, that's going to be my base. So I'm going to add another smart material, and you can do this with regular colors too if you wanted to. So if I wanted to just add in a straight up color, then I would go back to the base channel. And of course, just for a quick overview, every time I hit something, I'll try to go over it. You got your base, your metallic, roughness, the emission channel, which I baked, the height information channel, which is my favorite, and then you've got the normal, and then you've got the custom layers, which work out great. But for this base channel, you could very easily click this, and I did delete that and go back just so you know, so we don't get confused. This could be something like my second color, okay? And I'll click this little doodad here. This is the surface layer, and so once you click that, you'll be able to come down here once you've added that layer, and now you can choose from certain masks, or you can come down here to color and you can change that to whatever you wish. But I'm actually going to go with the other smart material. So I'll just have this, and you've got the two like material icons, if you will. You can turn these on and off, which is very cool. And just like I promised, we will go over the different view modes here for the different layers, different channels. We'll go over that in just a moment. And just keep in mind, the different channels will afford you different options, and we'll go through all that. And if you want a big overview, I've got, like I said, link in the description, playlist will go over all of that for you. And the basics still apply no matter what version you have. So once I'm on the base channel, I can come down here and click this, and I can pull up a metal rusty, and that's going to overwrite everything, but no big deal. I'm going to come over to layer, the layer channel, and I've got a few icons down here. One, I've got the surface layer, which we just did. This is an image layer where you can paint. This is an anchor layer, which is really cool. I've got a few tutorials on that. Go check it out. But this is the big focus, is the ID layer. So once I go ahead and click that and add an ID layer, it disappears and we go back to our original color. Why do we do that? Because now this layer is calling for an ID, but we don't have any IDs assigned. Now, with the latest upgrade, you've got the different parameters here, and I can just add, let me expand this. I can add the ID color. And once I do that, it's going to pull up the teardropper and the colors here. So all you gotta do is click the teardropper, and it's gonna automatically jump you over into the ID display, the view mode. So if I click this one, and you'll see the different colors pop up. It's pretty cool. The Philogix creator's done a lot of hard work on this. And now that we've done that, try to clear my throat off the camera. I don't think that worked. No big deal. So you've got a tolerance down here at the bottom. So like if you click that, nothing's going to happen because you've got to get it within the threshold. And as you bring this up, you'll see that the threshold has been reached. And if I bring it too far, it's going to kind of go across the mesh consecutively. But I just want this one ID selected. And now what I can do is go back to the base and the base channel. And if I wanted to change something here, very easy to change. Get whatever color you want. Then I go to material 1. And I don't have to have it that way. It's always procedural. I can switch it up as I go on the fly and change this to anything I want. And maybe I wanted something crazy like that. But what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to go to the, where is it? The patchy paint, the peely paint. Then I'll come back to my base and go back to that deeper, darker yellow. Cool. And I can change all of that. So I got this nice thing. It kind of looks like veins. As far as material 1, you can increase or decrease the bump. So if you go all the way to the left, right, it's going to invert effectively. And then if you want it regular, 0.5 should do nicely. And from here, we'll grab the second ID. So we're going to add another layer. We'll make another smart material. And I think I deleted that one for some reason. Let's call that I1. I'll call that I2. Now I2 is going to get a layer, and then we're going to come back down to the ID and click the ID again. And then we're going to go ahead and add the ID color, grab the teardropper, and we'll grab that. Bring up the tolerance, and boom. Now, why ever in the world does it look like that? Well, because we didn't actually pick anything. So I'll come over here and I'll grab like the asphalt. So we'll have Suzanne have one bloodshot eye and one eye made of rock. And so the scale can be brought up in that PBR texture. So you see that's very nice. I like that a lot. And then of course this base channel. If I don't like the base color, maybe I just wanted to go with a nice aluminum or something like that. Like I said, it's all procedural. You can literally change everything you want. All right, so we'll do one more thing. This is really easy, and you can do this on anything you've got. I'm going to add on the base channel one more smart material. And I'll come down to the pick shader selector, and I want to grab the smart rust. Now this one is going to go into the AO. It's going to give you some options for your ambient occlusion. So you can kind of change where this ends up. You can of course change the detail, which is very important. Get you a nice look. The surface grain, you can kind of procedurally make that go back into the mesh. And this is just a quick way to kind of knock out some quick texturing and overlays. Then of course you can invert the bump. You could change the color as well. And if you don't like that one, you can use the Smart Metal Rust. This one's a little bit different. It's got a few more features on it. The value will allow you to change the hues, just change everything. The rust detail can certainly go up. And it's a little bit more layered, if you will. And you can bring the detail up to get a nice grainy look. Let's get a nice look at that. It's really nice. You can try and like procedurally bring that out a little bit more as well. And that looked pretty cool. And you get a nice worn look to your mesh. And you will sometimes get this little seam right here. So whatever layer is causing that, you can go up to that layer, select it, come down to the using UV section here, and switch how that is projected. I go to box a lot of times because I've got a blend function here, which is going to kind of help out a little bit. And there we go. I don't see any seams now. That looks very nice. And it's all in the finished product because we know 3D modeling in and of itself is fakery. So here we go. It looks pretty good. Really appreciate you guys watching. Go pick up the add-on if you don't have it. I'm going to be teaching a whole myriad of different techniques that you can use with Philogix to get ahead and do a lot of in-house inside of Blender, not having to necessarily export, import, and do all that extra stuff. Even though inside of Philogix you can do that. You can actually import and export everything, all your settings and all of the channels. It's super powerful, and we'll get to all of that in good time. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.